Well, here we are back in the workshop and on the bike lift. Not long after the test ride, which was very successful, and I've just got some post-test ride thoughts to discuss. And one observation riding the bike, and I actually commented on it on the first test ride about the quite knocky sound pulling away, especially with a cold engine, and I said that it was possibly or probably piston slap. Well, since backing off the ignition timing by a couple of degrees, and obviously going to the 140 main jet in the carburetor and raising the needle, etc., the engine's obviously been a lot happier with life, but still felt quite how can I put it? You could feel the fire impulses more strongly than on some Tiger Cubs, especially this one here. I mean, this one's lovely and smooth. And somebody actually mentioned in one of the comments recently, I don't know if it was the last video with the test ride or perhaps even before that, but someone said it wouldn't have a high compression piston in it, would it? Well, I never even gave it any thought, to be honest, and usually these T20B Bantam Cub engines, run the 7:1 compression ratio, like I got in there. Although obviously it's quite easy to get the head and barrel off and stick a 9:1 piston in, like I did with my Sports Cub replica, which runs 9:1, as does the Scrambles Cub replica here. And in fact this one's got the R cam as well as the high compression piston. But I digress. I started to get a bit curious, and I wanted to see if I could work out, with the spark plug removed, what piston might be in there. And I took the spark plug out and tried the piston at different positions up and down a bore, and tried poking a thin screwdriver in and dragging it over. I couldn't see enough of the piston crown to really say which type of piston it was, but dragging a thin screwdriver across the crown of the piston did seem to suggest there was a dome in the piston crown, but I couldn't be sure, and I wanted to know, but I didn't really want to go taking the cylinder head off just to find out. So I came up with an idea. Now, I know that there's a flat topped 7:1 piston in my Trials Cub replica, and there's such a piston there. It's all but flat. Some of them are completely flat. Some of them have got that very slight bevel right on the edge, but they're generally rated as 7:1, those flat top pistons. And next to it, obviously, I've got the 9:1 piston. You'd think that you'd be able to tell by peering through the plug hole, but it's difficult, believe me, because the plug hole is about here, say, and it's at an angle, so by the time you're looking in, you're looking at almost the centre of the piston anyway, and that's about all you can see. I decided I would use this. I screwed it in to this one here, got top dead centre, and at top dead centre I had 25mm of measurement showing on the stick, on the plunger. I repeated the exercise with the Trials Cub replica, got it at smack on top dead centre, and guess what? I only had 15mm showing, a 10mm difference. Now if we look at the two pistons, there's probably roughly 10mm difference in height of the crowns. So I was able to deduce from that we have indeed got a 9:1 piston in this engine, which would explain why it feels quite thumpy, and you can feel the fire impulses more sharply than you often do, and even more so than on my Sports Cub replica, which has got the high compression piston and the high lift long duration cam. And that is because if you've got a shorter duration cam with a high compression piston, the cylinder pressures will probably be higher than they would be on a correctly set up Sports Cub engine. Add to that the 90 main jet, which was intended for the 7:1 piston, back in the days when this Bantam Cub was new. And bear in mind we went straight up from a 90 to a 140 to make the thing happy. We were asking for a whole piston, a seizure and or a complete meltdown. So that was a lucky break really, fitting the 140 main jet and raising the needle, and also of course I backed off the timing just literally by a couple of degrees. I commented after the ride that there didn't appear to be any leakage from the primary case anymore, and that the wall of the tyre wasn't oily. And what I did is I unscrewed this plug here and I poked a cable tie in until it bottomed out and pulled it out to have a look, and it showed me that the oil level was actually around about here somewhere. So I'm not going to go chasing the oil level plug and possibly leading to leakage again, maybe. But I think the engine was so hot and bothered, I think that was more why and how it leaked. But another thing with these Bantam Cubs is the engine is mounted in the frame with the cylinder far nearer upright than when they're in the Triumph frame. So what, you might say? Well, so this. The level plug is right at the front of the engine. With the engine raised and tilted back, by the time you put enough oil in to get it coming out that level plug, you've got a lot more oil in that primary case than you would have when the engine's in a Triumph frame like this one. So I've satisfied myself that there's a good amount of oil still in the primary case. The leaking appears to have stopped, so I'm going to let sleeping dogs lie. Also, the engine in general has stayed pretty clean, and although we had a little bit of smoke, it was nothing alarming, and the performance was very good. We got up to an indicated 60 miles an hour, where previously we'd only managed to get up to 50, and it felt like there was plenty left as well. And bear in mind that was a gradual, very slight uphill pull as well. So I think all is well in the engine and the performance department. I suppose there's not really much point in trying to take that 9-to-1 piston out of there. Just keep the settings as they are on the carburettor and the timing, and look after the oil changes as and when required. And I don't see why this engine shouldn't perform well and last for a very long time. So I think we're almost out of the woods with this one, which would be very nice indeed.